The Walking Dead Telltale series is one of my favorite games of all time. It's just the characters are amazing, the story is amazing, and you really create a bond between all the characters in the game to a degree. There are some characters we just can never like. But anyways, I recently replayed the Telltale Definite series, and honestly, a great game, great experience, and I love the new season 4 type graphics. They definitely increase the immersion to the game for sure. And I also like the fact that they changed certain parts, certain art styles are changed, certain cover arts are changed, a lot of cool little things like that, which is very nice. I will say though, one character that definitely stood out playing season 1 and 2 specifically was Kenny. Kenny was definitely he was targeted. He was targeted by the writers. They said, this guy right here, we're gonna hold him. We're gonna make him feel horrible and just make him desperate in life. Because I can't lie, Lee definitely was downhill. There's some things that guy went through. Clem, we don't even talk about Clem. Her story is tragic, but at least she has like a happy moment. At least she goes up. She doesn't just go down. Kenny. Kenny. Let's just say there's a reason I made this video, because there's so much to talk about Kenny. I just wanted to talk about and discuss the fact that everything that happened to him, everything that he went through, it has a lot of content in it. A lot of content. First, we're going to talk about the introduction of Kenny. Kenny was first introduced to us in season 1, episode 1, where Lee and Clem wake up from a barn and see Mr. Kenny himself. Yep, that's Kenny. And if you're wondering, does Kenny have family? Does Kenny have this, any of that? We'll discuss this right now. Kenny has a little son. I think he's like 7, not too sure. It's not really discussed to us in the episode or any of the episodes truly. But Kenny has a son called Ken Jr., nickname Duck. His reason is called Duck, by the way. It's funny. It's because it's a bit stupid in the head. So they just go, yeah, he's like a duck. He just runs around. That's nothing much to it. They just kind of bully his son from there. And Kenny also has a wife called Katja. Not too sure about her origins, but she does seem a bit European. In this video, I will be breaking down every aspect of Kenny through his growth in season 1 and most likely season 2, but it might be a part 2 video. I'm not too sure. Depends how long this video is going to be, of course. And season 3, which we're not going to talk about. Let's just say his appearance in season 3 was very brief and very situational, and also very much of a disgrace of the character Kenny. Season 3 Kenny was the worst thing that could have happened, and forever we'll call it as not canon. It's not canon. It never happened. It never will happen. We're going to start this off with episode 1, season 1, where we first are introduced to Kenny, and he kind of shows off a character to care about his family a lot, as he tells the story about Duck being attacked by a walker, but at the time he didn't know that, in a gas station.
Good, I think. Katja's got a sister up in Memphis. We were coming back from visiting her. We were in a gas station and some guy grabbed my boy. I thought he was kidnapping him. I was on the fucker in about 2 seconds and... Christ. Just lucky I was there. We saw a lot of bodies before we stumbled upon Herschel's, but... We're a tough family, Lee. Ain't nothing gonna faze us.
Which, by the way, there is a scene in 400 Days where you can see Duck and Kenny at a gas station, but that's not relevant to the situation. Just fun fact. Anyways, yeah, so Kenny's clearly a protective person. He cares about his family. He cares about keeping them protected. It is kind of an agenda you see throughout the whole season 1, of course, with the whole, protecting his family and making sure everyone he loves and cares for is protected, and he's very, very Armstrong about it. In episode 1, you also see him fight off Larry. Larry's definitely someone which threatened Duck, threatened his livelihood, and Kenny did not care, no matter how you pick those options. Let's just say there's one option where you can just get him knocked out for like a little bit, but even then he's still trying to protect his son Duck. Another big example that I forgot to mention was at Herschel's farm, where you first are introduced to Kenny. You're also introduced to Sean, Herschel's son, and this situation, which of course Duck is the main one that caused it. He kind of turned the tractor on, drove onto Sean's leg, and he got stuck. And of course, that caused walkers to come through, and let's just say Kenny, yeah, he didn't try to help. He did not try to help one bit, and then has the audacity to tell us that he regrets it.
Yeah. I panicked, you know. I'm not proud of it.
It happens.
I guess. But I can't stop seeing him in my head.
Even though he didn't try to help once. Yeah, it's tough. I know. It's tough. From season 1, episode 1, 2, 3, and 4 is a very strong agenda. The protecting the family is all that matters to him, right? He also has a, depending on how you play the game, of course, he also has a feeling to protect Lee himself. If you're friendly with him and try to support him and back him with a lot of the decisions in the game, he will try to help you out in situations where normally he will just leave you behind and let you either die or deal with it yourself. It's very interesting how Kenny kind of works on that. He doesn't help the ones that don't help him, in a sense. Like, if you're not a good friend to him, he's not going to help you, but if you're a good friend to him, he will happily almost put his life on the risk to help you, not just because you're a person, but because you're a friend of him. It's a very interesting thought process. Kenny is very easily controlled by his emotions. He's very reckless when it comes to that. There's many examples where anytime Kacha or Doc is put into danger, he just kind of acts before he thinks. For example, when Sean is getting killed and there's walkers all over him, instead of helping him out too, he just kind of goes for Doc and that's it. Doesn't care anymore. When Lily's father, Larry, is having a heart attack, he does not care. He just tries to put himself into safety and kill him. When it comes to Andy having Kacha, was a Doc, I think it was Doc. He had Doc with a gun, and he just kind of runs to Andy and just gets shot. It's such a reckless mindset this guy has. He has no understanding of just being logical and being smart, but it's a constant theme with Kenny that he just kind of acts before he thinks. He pushes before he pulls. He doesn't really understand what he's doing, and in the moment he thinks it's invincible. That's why he always just rushes. Another example is Molly, bro. There was no threat. We completely made sure there was no threat between Molly and Lee, with Clem there also, right? He just attacks Molly and instantly gets beat, bro. He just gets swept. He's such a reckless character, and that's one of his most profound characteristics, is that he doesn't think, he acts unless the emotions control his own actions, which is a very big downfall on him as a character, but also shows how much of a emotionally and caring person he is. He doesn't want to think it through. He just wants to help and protect. See, Kenny is those things I just described. He is a reckless character. He is emotionally driven. He is caring for his family and very caring into people that he cares and respects. He can put his life towards them and try to protect them in any way he can. And that is features that he will forever carry as a character. In the Motor Inn arc, which spans between episode 1 to 4 of season 1, that is his main characteristics. He cares about his family and wants to keep them safe. He wants to go in the van and go to find a boat, keep his family safe. He invites Lee multiple times because depending on your playthrough, you can have Lee as the best friend of Kenny. And he wants to keep Clementine safe too, not as his top priority, but still cares for Clem, even if it's not her child. It's not his child or anything like that. But after the Calamity event, which we'll go into detail with, there's a lot of characteristics that have changed. And let's just say Kenny is no longer Kenny after the Calamity event. Still sparks of him, but for a bit of time he is just a husk, filled with anger and hatred. Kenny, before the Calamity event, was showing little sparks of breaking down, of him about to lose his mind and just going crazy. The events that occur before the Calamity event are the attack in the Motor Inn, where the bandits attack them, which causes an event of Duck being bit and Katja being traumatized at this event and generally terrified, but still hopeful of a good future. Kenny is also hopeful for a better future, but he's also in somewhat of a denial stage. He denies the fact that Doc will survive this. He believes he will survive this, but he doesn't understand that he won't, and doesn't want to believe that he won't. And Katja is more understanding to the idea that Doc most likely won't survive this. And the events that occur after this attack is Lily will betray certain character. It will either be she shoots Carly or shoots Doc, depending on the game you play.
I got him. Now, what the fuck's the problem? No!
And this event shows sparks of Kenny still being Kenny, but it's also his mental well-being. He just saw a character that was completely innocent be murdered right in front of him, and that just reminds him that he's losing people around him. And then Lily, who the whole time in the Motor Inn arc did not like her at all, man. There was always bad blood between Lily and Larry versus Kenny and his family. He just felt like they were always trying to attack Kenny's family. So this is the big chance he finally pushed Lily out of here for a reason, not just for hatred or dislike. He never was that type of person, but when it came to the murder of an innocent man that did nothing wrong, he had to just put his foot down and say, yep, you're gone now, Lily. I can't be a part of this. And Lee, depending on your choice, can agree or disagree with this. And I agreed with it. We let Lily go.
The hell with it. Get in, Lee.
The first affirmation of Doc's bite was very emotional to a degree. We are told by Kenny and Katja that Doc has been bit. This to us is a surprise, because it was very hard to see how Doc could have been bit because of the Walker's position and all this, but you have to accept the facts, and that is what happened. Doc is definitely a very fun character, and there's one character I didn't really speak much about in this video, but as a character, Doc is very fun and just a definition of life before the apocalypse. A very childish kid, like he should be. Is nothing like Clem. I love Clem in all respects to Clem, but Clem is definitely a more mature child than Doc was.
Did I just say?
You're the Grace Detective, and I can be Dick Grayson, your ward. That's Robin.
I know who it is.
And that's definitely something that Kenny loved about Doc, is that Doc was just free and could do whatever he wanted. But after learning about his bite, Kenny is very truthful to Lee and tells him just what he thinks. He thinks that he should know. He's a part of this group, so he should know. And Katja is very hopeful, but also you can see that she doesn't really believe in what's going to happen. And you can see that Doc's already going downhill, but tries to use the medical viewpoint as a way of maybe creating hope for themselves.
I'm going to keep an eye on him and see what I can do from a medical perspective.
We keep the same plan unless something changes. East.
Guys,
What else is there to do? We thought you should know.
The Calamity event is creeping up on Kenny and the cast. But before we get there, we have to talk about the train. The train was like the last bit of hope Kenny got. He thought that it was kind of like a sign from God himself. Here, a train that luckily goes to Savannah, where this is the location you want to go to and get your boat from. This is where you want to be.
we found this in the boxcar back there.
Whoa, is this what it looks like?
I think so.
These tracks lead right to Savannah. Holy hell. Can you guys see about moving that thing? We could have something here.
Yeah, we're on it.
So of course, using that, they go, okay, we can maybe take this. We can maybe get help for Doc. We can maybe survive this apocalypse. So they try to get the train working, and Lee figures it out, gets the train working. Kenny is over the head about it and thinks, maybe we have a chance now. Maybe now we can keep Doc alive. Maybe now we'll be safe and we'll be okay. We have a train that will take us directly to Savannah. Until Halfway through the train ride, Duck starts coughing up blood. Katja, as a medical expert, she thinks it's over for Duck. He has little time left and it's time to end this. So after we are told this, we go straight to Kenny, and this is the first sign of Kenny breaking his character completely. He's losing it. He has no emotional control anymore. He cannot even handle hearing the fact that Duck is coughing up blood. He's dying. And through denial, he just tries to fight Lee, and of course you have a choice. You can either talk him out of it, fight him, but I think fighting is the most Kenny thing to do, to release that anger. Kenny releases anger by fighting Lee and trying to just show that everything will be fine. He's trying to disperse that anger out of him.
Like nothing's wrong, and somebody's gotta knock some sense into you. I told Katja I'd get you to stop this, and you bet your ass I'm gonna.
Just leave me the fuck alone! I don't need you, and Duck doesn't need you!
I've had your back. Don't make me fucking regret it.
You don't even have a child! You don't know what this is like! You fucker! You're not helping my family! You're not helping Clementine! You're not helping anybody!
Not realizing that he's not making things better, he's making things worse for himself. He's making himself weaker. Wow, it's a bit of a harder message when it comes to the death of Duck and how it affects Kenny. Kenny was very much holding his hands to Duck and Katja. That was his main stone that kept him going. And of course, he's lost Duck and is losing him. And it's definitely an event that changed him as a character. So Kenny meets up with Katja, Duck, after they stop the train, and they argue a little bit, trying to decide who should go out there and finish Duck himself. Should it be the mother or the father or Lee? Of course, Katja's gonna go by herself there. She's just gonna go and try to end Duck. But to a surprise, if this is your first time playing the game, let's just say Katja didn't make it.
Get! Katja!
Katja didn't make it to Duck. With all the pain Katja felt, she couldn't put any of that power, any of that strength to finish Duck off. Instead, she chose the harder option, just ending it herself. And with one shot, she was gone. That to Kenny was betrayal. Kenny felt betrayed and sad, of course, but betrayed by Katja, as now he has to not only live this lonely life by himself now without Duck or Katja, but then has to also kill Duck. Depending on what you choose, of course, you can let Lee kill Duck, Kenny kill Duck, or nobody, and let Duck live to become a walker and forever roam the streets or the forests or whatever.
I can't. Let's just go.
this definitely was a very heavy impact on Kenny. Well, it makes sense. He lost his family. He lost everything right in front of him. It wasn't like it was hidden. It was just straight in front of him. And Carter suiciding and Duck becoming a walker, he knew that he lost it all. But something we learn about Kenny is that he can't give up. He can never give up. He goes through his horrible points where he just wants to just fight through this pain, ignore it, but he can't handle it. He can't keep going, and he becomes really fragile when it comes to talking to him. He easily snaps at you, can start a fire with you, and all the sort. He doesn't think anymore. He has way less emotional control when he already had such a little emotional control. It's very, very, very volatile. He's extremely volatile at this point. And I want to make this point now. I know I'll probably mention it a bit later too, but Carter's suiciding was definitely something that Kenny just completely disagrees with, and it's something that is kind of more obvious that it doesn't like that part in season 2, which I'll talk about when we get to season 2. He doesn't appreciate that the fact that Carter couldn't handle it and chose to just end it. He mentioned this in one of the apartments, how you shouldn't kill yourself and throw away everything. You should live on for the ones that have passed away, and that's how you should live your life. You shouldn't just end it because you can't handle it. That is not how you should live your life, and that's been Kenny's whole mindset for a while. You shouldn't just end yourself. Suicide is never the option. Fight through no matter what, no matter how desperate the situation is, no matter how sad or lonely you are, just keep fighting through. And that is the definition of Kenny's just strength, mental fortitude, being able to push past it. As much as he's not stable, he can still maintain that self inside of him. He can still maintain that strength to keep pushing on, whether he's volatile or not. You can still push on.
Don't you say that. You stick it out as long as you can. You do whatever you have to. I could have done more. I could have been a better husband, better father, could have been a better friend. So let's figure out a way out of here. Get that little girl.
Doc's death, on the other hand, is very, 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 very strong on him. It's something that no matter what season you play, he'll always mention it to a degree. Not season 3 doesn't account, we never talk about that season. But in season 1 and 2, he will always talk about Doc in some way or form. Reason why is because Doc was him, was his boy, was the thing that he loved and cared for the most out of anything in the world. More than Katja, more than Sarita, more than anyone. That was the person he cared for the most, and depending on what you choose, of course, Kenny will forever remember Doc, and him breaking down, whether you kill him or not, is his definition of that's it. That's his boiling point. Like, Sarita could die, Katja could die, or whoever, but Doc dying is what truly broke Kenny as a character, and he couldn't handle it anymore. And it doesn't help that in episode 4, when they first enter, oh no, it's not episode 4, yeah, it's episode 4. Episode 4, when they first enter the house in Savannah, and they see this very, very starved boy as a walker just in the attic, and you can see Kenny just getting flashbacks of Doc and realizing this is my son. This is what my son became, and I didn't end it, or I did end it, and he could have became this. It shows Kenny like this is what he will be or would have been, and it's a horrible thought for Kenny, and for us as a viewer, we have to experience it again. We have to put down Doc twice now. This is the second time pretty much we have to put down Doc, but it's just another kid that looks a lot like him. I let Kenny in my playthrough kill him, as a way of saying, yeah, you shouldn't need to kill your son, whether it becomes a walker or not, that is your son, but as a memory of him, you should be able to kill ones that are not your flesh and blood.
We should bury him.
Of course, the last part of season 1 Kenny that's very adamant. It's yes, he's still reckless, he's still emotional, even after the event that occurred, the calamity event. Even after all of that happened, he's still somewhat the same person, just more volatile and more ready to start a fight scene if he needs to. But one thing that definitely helped him develop his character, if you kept him alive of course, is Ben. Ben is the reason why in the first place Katja and Doc are dead, why either Carly or Doc gets shot in the head, why Lily is left behind. He is the reason for that, as he caused the bandits to come to their place, as he gave them supplies, and one day his supplies went missing because of Lee, and the bandits did not take that as a good sign.
It was me.
Huh?
I was the one giving the bandits supplies.
So of course Ben, for some reason, at the worst time possible, tells Kenny, and Kenny of course is gonna lash out all his anger at him.
Supplies. I thought maybe I could keep them off our backs. When it got discovered, that's when they attacked. And that's when Duck...
Kenny, enough! Calm down, man!
You little pissant! You're fucking dead! You hear me? Dead! My wife and child! You got them both fucking killed!
Kenny, I said calm the fuck down!
But one interesting thing about this is when Kenny and Ben are arguing in episode 5, Ben puts out this point of, you got to say bye to your family, but I never had a family to say bye to. I don't know what's happened to my family. At least you know what happened to your family. At least you can live at peace knowing that your family isn't suffering still, or isn't somewhere being attacked by someone, or stuck in slavery, or stuck somewhere like that.
I left you in Crawford.
Fuck you, Kenny! I am so sorry about Katja and Duck. I am! And I know I fucked up. But stop pushing me around and stop wishing I was dead! No! You know how they die. You said goodbye. I never got to see my family, my parents, my little sister. Do you get that? Your family is gone, but at least you had them to lose. I never made it home. They could be alive, or dead, or walkers, or worse, and I don't know! So give me a fucking break!
Oh, Ben,
At least you know what happened to them. I don't know what happened to them. And Kenny guaranteed takes that very deeply. He takes it very deeply, and kind of his character changes a little bit, and he becomes more aware of other people's emotions because of Ben. And he becomes more calm, collected, and not as volatile. He definitely understands things more and gain a new level of respect for Ben, because he realized, yes, Ben causes the event to occur, but it's not like he meant it for it to happen, and it's not like he's not suffering too. He's probably suffered a lot longer than I have, and he's never mentioned it to us, but I suffered a lot more than I suffered recently, and that's all I've been mentioning, that's all I've been portraying. So it's a very different way of how they both show emotions. Ben might be stupid and might be a bit lazy, and you know, he's no one really likes Ben because he doesn't protect Clementine ever, right? He's an idiot. He doesn't protect Clem. He's a child, and this guy somehow Clem is protecting Ben more. But he has his points, and he has his way of showing that emotion to Kenny that no one else could respect or show Kenny that way. And I think Kenny took it to heart, because later on in the episode he saves Ben, quote unquote saves, he sacrificed himself for Ben. And yeah, that's the season 5, I keep saying season 5, episode 5 way of Kenny dying. He leaves everyone to just protect Ben, to try to end his misery, which is very poetic, because he couldn't put out his misery with his son if he made it that way. He couldn't handle the idea of Katja being dead, but even if he knew all of that happened because of Ben, he still helped Ben, which just shows his level of charisma he has, that when he has respect for someone, when he at least shows some kind of care for someone, he will put his life on the line to help them, to care for them. As much as I didn't speak about Omid and Krista, Kenny does still have somewhat respect for them too. I just feel like mentioning this real quick. If you do let Ben die in the watchtower or the bell tower, he does sacrifice himself to help Krista get out of that hole in episode 5, which again shows that he has respect for those characters too, and is willing to sacrifice his own life to protect them. It is a way of showing that he has that fighting spirit to protect the people he cares for to a degree or respects, and doesn't see it as a way of throwing his own life away because he knows he's done something good to protect someone else. And that's a very major part of Kenny. It's not something I didn't want to gloss over. I wanted to actually just talk about a little bit here, because it's very, very, very important in season 2 about this whole concept of fighting for your ones you care for, and sacrificing what he has to sacrifice, and caring, protecting them, and even almost dying just to protect them. He's done that multiple times in season 1 and 2. Kenny, in conclusion, is a very strong character in season 1. He has his downfalls. He goes down and down and down after his family passes, but then comes back up, shown through his sacrifices he makes for Ben and Krista. And I think season 1 is pretty much all covered now. I've covered every aspect of it, how he protects everyone, how his characteristics affect other characters, and how he kind of developed and then broke down and all the signs to that. It's very obvious that season 1 Kenny was meant to be the showing of a man who loses everything and still somehow remains a man instead of becoming a monster. And I think season 2 kind of describes the after effects of all that, and I will go into detail on episode 2. This is definitely a 2-parter. This is not a 1-parter video. It's way too long. We're already hitting the 25 marker. Most likely will end in the close to 30 minutes. So I just want to say thank you guys for watching, and peace.